Tears of the Kingdom did it. Or kind of. Go back to the year 2020, the year that absolutely sucked, when I made my first video about this game. I sound asleep in it too. Like, I didn't have any energy. Or maybe I was too excited about the game to sleep? Or in reality, my life just keeps me awake at night? I don't know the answer. But what I do know is I made a video hoping the dungeons would be better. I basically broke my issues down into the amount of dungeons, lack of varying themes, and repetitive gimmicks to the dungeons. So Tears of the Kingdom would hopefully address all three of these issues. And I'm happy to say that they did. Or someone did. I believe they could have done more, but I'll take the improvement. You always gotta applaud improvement in life. It's a long journey to get to perfection, and certainly not a single step. So we got to be realistic with ourselves and applaud each step that is taken. That's how I feel about Tears of the Kingdom and their dungeons. Obviously the rest of the game, and same with Breath of the Wild, is absolutely terrific. And I am still giggling at the silly things we can make in this game, and all the creations that people have designed this world to help explore it. But let's spend some time to talk about these three items, and which ones did Tears of the Kingdom improve upon, and which ones did they miss the mark on. Let's start with what they probably did the weakest on. And I don't have to explain this too much as it's kind of more of a fact. There are once again 4 main dungeons in this game. For a game this size and a Zelda game so relying on them, that is not a lot. Both games have some asterisks too, like both have Hyrule Castle, a neat place, but I don't know if I'd call it a Zelda dungeon. Especially in Tears of the Kingdom for how part of it is high in the sky, then all the components deep in the depths below it. Breath of the Wild also had DLC dungeon as well, and Tears of the Kingdom had the Spirit Temple that did have some challenges beforehand. But to put it blunt, there are 4 dungeons in each game. A massive world, and only 4 dungeons. I really wish they added more. Dungeons are a fun part of these games, some of the best levels in all of video games. And Tears of the Kingdom's had very fun ones which I'll get more into soon. But of everything they added to this game, and all the penis men that players built, they could have really used more dungeons in this game. And it's as simple as that. The themes, on the other hand, is a much different story. For Breath of the Wild, they were ancient mechanical war machines to fight Ganon with. Like the Divine Beasts were all that, with very minimal differences in the theming. Like the elephant, you could trigger a little bit of water, and the camel, you can make some lightning in one room. But they were more or less the same thing with no real variance in the theming. Tears of the Kingdom solved that. You have wind, water, fire, and lightning dungeons. All of them which are very different locations and themes. One is a ship well above the skies, another is a water shrine, the source of the water in Zora's domain, and then deep in the depths you find a volcanic mining facility, and then finally you have an undercover pyramid in the middle of the desert. That one sentence makes each place sound so varied. Each place has unique abilities too from the sages to help you solve the puzzles, like whether you use a gust of wind to go from one place to another, or when you just select a location to be destroyed by lightning. The design of all these dungeons are so different, the puzzles are different, the feel of the theme you get exploring them are all different. I am so happy about this. I think this was the biggest of the 3 issues, and it was completely solved. This is the main reason why I was so excited when I started this video. It feels so much more like Zelda with all these varied themes. The content of the dungeons are varied too, or at least it kind of is. The Divine Beasts had different puzzles and such, but all were about rotating different parts of the beast to get to 5 locations. Like sure, you can rotate Meadow so you can fly from one place to another, or you can rotate Rudania so the floor become the sidewall. So I guess they're a bit different, but really not that different. In Tears of the Kingdom, you still need to reach 4 or 5 locations to open up the boss room. So while I wish there were some more varied objectives, what you do in each dungeon is much different. Like in one instance, you're invading an enemy ship and you're trying to enter through all these unique points. And then you are climbing up a temple riding a minecart. Both the wind and fire temples, but the variance between the two is so much more noticeable, and it leads to an overall better experience in the dungeon. And I think the biggest difference is at the end of the dungeons. The Divine Beasts made you fight a Blight Ganon as the boss, which all played pretty much the exact same as one another. Tears of the Kingdom bosses are throwbacks to old school bosses with a little bit of a twist, and I find them much more exciting and much more varied. Like Goma is back, but now kind of built up with all these rocks as you fight in the Fire Temple. And my favorite is probably Colgera. Like, I loved the Molgera fight as a kid, especially the whole theme music to it. And then you take that fight, which also used to be in the Wind Temple, to this new Wind Temple, which is a lot colder because you're well above the mountains of Hebra, and you put an ice spin on Molgera. It is absolutely fantastic. It's night and day compared to the Blight Ganons, which I am very happy about. So while not every part of the dungeon was varied enough, it was still a terrific improvement from its prequel, and I can say I'm happy with the improvements. Breath of the Wild was a fantastic game, but the dungeons needed some improvement. And Tears of the Kingdom, the dungeons aren't perfect, but they certainly did fix a lot of the issues. It's been over 2 months since the game came out, and man, I gotta say, I'm having a lot of fun with it. But there is one thing that is very true. I am nowhere fucking close to doing everything in this game, because there is so much to fucking do in this game.